telling the governor that I was here last about 12 years ago. I think it's a private visit to address some people. And I'll be quite honest with you. I thought the governor was playing a trick on me and had taken me to a modern developed town, trying to pretend that this was the you're been talking about. I'm relieved to find that, yes, it's the same. What a transformation. I mean, the little I've seen so far, I don't know what else I'll see tomorrow, but what I've seen so far, I really must salute the governor and the people. I was here, the last time I was here, I hope some of the things I enjoyed have not gone away, been swept aside by modernization. I mean, for instance, I hope you still have those sharp corners where one can get some pure water. Items like that still going on. Because one must never abandon tradition and indigenous production. I congratulate you for the beautification of this thing. And that for me is always an indication of the morale of people. Because if the physical environment is decayed, as it certainly was when I was here the last time, then find that the internal health of people cannot really be counted upon. So I'm looking forward very much to my very short visit. Already I'm tempted to see if I can stretch it out just a little bit more, but unfortunately I do have a rather tight calendar, as you know. The governor did a lot of arm twisting since he openly challenged me, actually in Asaba, openly challenged me. Come and see for yourself. It was a challenge I could not resist. Thank you very much for this invitation, and I'm looking forward.
We also look forward to listening to you, your wise counseling. We look forward to tapping from your wealth of knowledge. We have a lot of things we would like to show you, but I will just mention maybe just two. First, I thank you for your humility. If you were not a humble man, you would not have accepted the invitation I challenged you openly in Asaba. Your speech in Asaba, as usual, was wonderful, but there was a little bit of a sad tone to it. You were wishing Nigeria were better. And I wanted to showcase a part of Nigeria to you, that in 5 years we have attempted to show that yes, indeed, Nigeria is getting better. We want you to know that there is a ray of hope. We want you to know that democracy has worked and can work and is working in Akwa Ibom State and will work. I think immediately after this visit, your tone will change. Wherever you go to, you will tell the international community to give time. That yes, indeed, you've seen something remarkable in a democratic state in Akwa Ibom, and that we should give time. That if President Jonathan also stays, really by the time he stays a bit longer, I'm sure that most of his programs will also crystallize, and then Nigeria will be better. I mentioned one of the programs of the president I'm very impressed with, and that is the gas program. I attended a gas summit in Abuja, presidential gas summit, and I was impressed with the investment in the gas sector. And I saw this coming as far back as 2008, when Aluminium Smelter Company came to me to complain that they had difficulty getting gas from Nigerian Gas Company. So I knew that the problem of Nigeria would not be the construction of turbines. In due course, it will be the availability of gas to turn the turbines. So what I did as a state was to partner with an international company from United Kingdom, and we started building our own gas processing plant in Esreke, which is almost 90% completed. And then we did a gas pipeline, 69 kilometers from Esreke to Ikorobasi. to supply our independent power plant and also supply the Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria's facility. In fact, when the president came here for the groundbreaking ceremony with NNPC and the DP, they were surprised. So I told them that when they finish their gas master plan, they should include the one of Akwa Ibom, because I couldn't wait for the gas master plan, because there is no permanent governor. You only have permanent secretary in government, and time was of the essence for me. So, and that, one of the things we would like to show Prof is actually the e-library. Prof, we have an electronic library because you love education, you love literature. I mean, you are part and parcel of knowledge. We have a knowledge-based center which we would like to show you. I won't speak more than that. Because I'm a lawyer, in law we say res ipsa loquitur, which means the act speaks for itself. So when you see the e-library, you ask me why I should say that that is one project I want you to see. It is to complement the policy of government on free and compulsory education. We've taken education as the cardinal program of this administration because we realize our own deficiency. We realize that for over 20, 30, 50 years, this area was an industry for houseboys and house girls. And the reason was because of lack of education. There was a lot of illiteracy, so you had a lot of child trafficking. You also had a lot of abuse of children under the stigmatized syndrome of witchcraft, where they call witches and wizards, which of course existed in the United Kingdom in the 16th century, where you heard of the witch of Endor and all those things. And it was because of the peculiar literate level of the society at that time. So we decided to pursue all those stigmatization and the humiliating syndrome of houseboy, house girlship through education. So we have free and compulsory education, I mentioned to you in the car, up to senior secondary school level. We pay subvention, 100 naira per child per term, to the school headmaster for logistics, and 300 naira per child per term to the school principal for logistics at the secondary school level. Sit down. So, Prof, we want to focus on education, but also for my second term, we are also looking at industrialization because we want to create jobs. So we brought in the former Minister of Commerce and Tourism, Chief Sena Supan. Also, so he's now the special advisor on industrial matters. He just came back from a delegation to China. You were in China?
Yes, sir.
I hope you have good reports.
We have.
And so he just came back. So I know that the over 1 million children in both primary and secondary schools in the state cannot all be Akwa Ibom children.
No.
You understand? When you look at the population of the state, at just 4.3 million or thereabout. So it must be that we are educating our neighbors also. That's why I said one of the projects I would like you to look at, outside the massive infrastructure, will be the e-library, which is a knowledge-based center. So I'm glad to welcome you and your delegation to the state. And yes, indeed, it's a quasi-private visit, but we'll make it possible also for students who love you so much and who are reading your books to have an interactive session with you. When is that fixed for? Tuesday. Do you have secondary and university students? So we want you to, because I know you love children, to also let them see you live, because many of them only see you on television. So we have selected about 150 schools to send representatives to come down, and so you may be talking to about 600 students about that. Is a deal here. About 600 students or so, representing about 150 schools, so that they can have at least 1 or 2 hours of interactive session with you. And if we have your permission, we can make that live all over the country and the global community, so that they can ask you questions, and I know you will answer their questions, because it's not easy for them to see you. So I welcome you to the state. And why are we so happy to have you? We're happy to have you because when I came as a governor in 2007, I made a pedestrian state where people pass to Port Harcourt or pass to Calabar. I wanted to make it a destination for Nigerians. So we are not building a Akwa Ibom for Akwa Ibom.